Hi everyone, my name is Priya Dupar from the Formula Funding section here at OCTA. Today we will be covering an overview of the FTIP program and process. We will be going over some informational items related to the FTIP, as well as the different responsibilities that certain agencies have in the FTIP process. You may be familiar with the FTIP process and database already, but to clarify, the FTIP, also known as the Federal Transportation Improvement Program, is a list of transportation projects that are federally funded, state funded, or are considered regionally significant. All of the projects in the FTIP are consistent with SCAG's approved Regional Transportation Plan / Sustainable Communities Strategy. The Regional Transportation Plan, or RTP, is a long-range plan that provides a vision for transportation investments throughout the region. The most recent RTP was approved in April 2024, called Connect SoCal. This plan is developed and updated by SCAG every 4 years in order for our region's transportation projects to qualify for federal and state funding. One question that comes up a lot is, what defines a project that is considered regionally significant? This list is provided as a definition by SCAG in the 2027 FTIP guidelines. The list includes expansions to principal or major arterials, which are defined as an 8-lane divided roadway for principal arterial classifications and a 6-lane divided roadway for major arterial classifications. It also includes routes that provide access to regional shopping centers, amusement parks, transit centers, rail stations, and airports. Types of FTIP amendments. An administrative modification is a minor change to the FTIP that does not require a process like a public review or federal approval, but do require SCAG approval. An example of an administrative modification would be something like changing the lead agency. On the other hand, a formal amendment is a revision that involves a major change to the FTIP, such as an addition or deletion of a project, a major change in project cost, or project scope. An amendment requires a public review period of 10 days and must also meet the criteria listed on the slide. For additional information, you can go to the 2027 FTIP guidelines on SCAG's website. Additionally, projects on the FTIP are required to be fully funded. This means the FTIP sheet includes only approved funds for which backup documentation can be provided, not funds that are tentative or proposed. And as previously mentioned, projects should be consistent with the SCAG-approved RTP. Just to note, FTIP programming is required for the authorization to proceed process and for CTC allocation approval. The three main groups that participate in the FTIP process are local agencies, OCTA, and SCAG. SCAG is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, also known as MPO, which includes 6 counties in Southern California, including Orange, Los Angeles, Ventura, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial. Some of the tasks that local agencies are responsible for are submitting and updating projects in the FTIP, ensuring compliance with FTIP guidelines and TCM requirements, ensuring that projects are fully funded, and providing documentation authorizing funding for projects. OCTA is responsible for administering the FTIP at the county level. OCTA staff also goes through the same process of programming funds for OCTA-led projects, and OCTA is responsible for reviewing projects submitted by local agencies before they are submitted to SCAG for approval. OCTA also administers the FTIP submittals for group project listings, including the Complete Streets, the Active Transportation Program, Bicycle Corridor Improvement Program, and the Highway Bridge Program. SCAG is responsible for maintaining the regional FTIP database. Now, once OCTA sends the final submittal to SCAG, they will review the projects for the whole region, ensure compliance, and prepare the submittal for review at the federal level by the Federal Highway Administration, also known as FHWA, and the Federal Transit Administration, also known as FTA. SCAG also prepares group project listings, including the state ATP program, Highway Safety Improvement Program, and Safe Routes to School program. Two important fund sources for projects in the FTIP are the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program, known as STBG, and the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program, also known as CMAQ. With the STBG, projects will be evaluated based on project readiness, regional significance, as well as safety and mobility benefits. It is less rigid than CMAQ. For CMAQ, projects will be evaluated based on emission reduction potential, cost effectiveness, and alignment with air quality goals. Written here are some examples of eligible projects for each funding source. In the past, funds were sub-allocated to counties based on formula. OCTA and other county transportation commissions had the flexibility to program the funding. However, the FHWA and the FTA found this to be out of compliance with federal guidelines, so they issued a corrective action. This means that SCAG now is responsible for the STBG and CMAQ funded project selection as the region's MPO. Here is some additional information on the 2027 STBG CMAQ program call process. In the 2027 to 2028 STBG CMAQ call prioritization guidance, it establishes the framework for project selection and allocation of CMAQ and STBG funds within the SCAG region. OCTA, as the CTC, is required up to a project prioritization framework and project recommendations to SCAG as part of the final SCAG project selection. The total call was approximately $1.2 billion for the entire SCAG region. Orange County projects could receive approximately $200 million in this call, and the target for Orange County is approximately 17%. SCAG received 66 projects in total from Orange County region, 58 from local agencies, 7 from OCTA, and 1 from Metrolink. Projects combined a total of approximately $420 million. Here is the general process of a base FTIP submittal. After local agencies submit projects to OCTA, which deadline is October 13th of 2025, they are reviewed and submitted to SCAG for approval, which is the deadline of January 6, 2026. After SCAG reviews the approved programs, which is the dates given in the slide, there is a 30-day public review period, which is from July 9th to August 7th of 2026. The FTIP is then adopted at the state level on September 30th of 2026 and is due to federal agencies for final approval on October 1st of 2026. Performance measures are a requirement for all FTIP projects in the system. You can update these in the OC Fund Tracker database and basically indicate the improvement your project is having across different metrics. If your project just consists of a study, then these metrics are not required. This also only applies to active projects. For example, equity is a requirement for all FTIP projects in the database. The Performance Metrics tab does not appear until the project is saved for the first time. Then you can reopen it and work on adding in the rest of the information. It is important to note that the first question under equity is required. Additionally, mapping has been identified by SCAG as a goal for every project. It is not a requirement at the moment, but may become one in the future. By evaluating funding geographically, SCAG can assess if there are issues with the balance of transportation investments in underserved areas. Embedded in this slide are links to mapping tools. In the future, an interactive map could plot projects and highlight major features, such as project scope, funding, and lead agency information. Here's the tentative 2027 FTIP adoption schedule. The new FTIP 2027 cycle will not be approved until December 2026. This means that there will be two concurrent FTIP cycles occurring, the 2025 cycle and the carryover and approval of the 2027 cycle. Amendments should still be carried out and submitted to OCTA while the carryover process is occurring. This is the most recent FTIP amendment schedule if projects need to be amended in the FTIP. The next two slides are a list of common problems that we see with agencies using the OC Fund Tracker and solutions on how to fix them. There is an FTIP tutorial and amendment guide on OCTA's FTIP website that will provide detailed information about how to use the system, which will help agencies avoid these problems. Some common examples of problems could be incomplete or unclear descriptions, unidentified number and direction of existing and proposed lanes, missing local match amounts, missing completion dates, and missing environmental documents types and dates. The FTIP includes OC Complete Streets, active transportation projects, and bicycle corridor improvement projects, many of which are city-led. For many of these projects, OCTA will roll them into a group project listing, which OCTA enters into the FTIP with the information provided by local agencies. The OC Complete Streets program is intended to support local agency projects in Orange County that further the goals of Complete Streets programs, while the Bicycle Corridor Improvement Program makes funding available to local Orange County agencies for bicycle and pedestrian projects that reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality. Now, if a Complete Streets, ATP, or BCIP project is a transportation control measure, then the project requires its own FTIP sheet, which local agencies are responsible for managing and providing backup documentation. What is a TCM? TCM is defined as a strategy that reduces transportation-related air pollution, GHG emissions, and fuel use by reducing vehicle miles traveled and improving roadway operations. Bicycle and pedestrian facilities more than 1 mile are considered a TCM and must have their own FTIP sheet. The OC Fund Tracker is the online database for the FTIP in Orange County and also how the project revisions are processed. There is a guidebook posted on our website which provides detailed instructions on how to use the database. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Here is the formula funding section's contact information should you have any questions. For all other FTIP information, you can visit the link given in the slide. Thank you very much.